Greetings, friends. It's your guy NWB from Toronto Talk Sports and More, and today I'm joined by Melyssa Amour.
Hi.
Also joining us is a special guest who hails from the Big Apple. He has become a fixture in the homes of basketball fans across Canada as an award-winning broadcaster for TSN and NBA TV. No matter what night it is in Toronto, it's collection night. Because when the Raptors are playing, we often hear the catchphrase, "Get that garbage out of here," when the refs make a block on defense. Further, this man will go down in history as one of the first voices we heard when the Toronto Raptors broke through to win their first NBA title in 2019. TTS Nation, I want to say hello to the one and only Jack Armstrong. How's it going, mate?
Well, Dave, thank you so much for having me on. Melyssa, thank you as well. And it's an honor and pleasure to be on with you. And I'm excited to hang out and chat with you. And whatever you want to cover, I'm here to hang out with you. So I really appreciate you having me on here and just hanging out, waiting for the NBA season to start again.
Yep, as we all are.
and on that point, you're based in Western New York in Lewiston, if I'm not mistaken. Have you missed being away from courtside, or did you enjoy being able to spend some extended time at home? Well,
I mean, my house is on the Niagara River. About 400 yards from my house, I can look across the river and see Canada. I'm across from Queenston Heights and Niagara on the Lake. And literally, so I miss being at the games. I miss the people. I miss the fans. And at the same time, for all of us, we've had the opportunity to spend a lot more time with family. My wife is not sick of me yet, which is a good thing. And I'm not sick of her, never will be. I overachieved. And it's just nice to have a little time at home. And at the same time, I'm excited, knock wood, that we have an opportunity to get back at it in late July. So I'm fired up. And most importantly, that we have our health and we have the people around us that we care about.
Right. So you spent some time as a coach at Niagara University, shout out to Niagara University, where you would eventually meet your wife, Dina. So to tell us, take us down a stroll of memory lane and let us know how you guys met.
Well, I met my wife. My wife was the women's soccer coach at Niagara. She was a Division I head coach as well. And also she was the women's basketball assistant. So my kids, I have 3 boys, and they all played sports. My oldest son, his bedroom, he lives in LA now, but his bedroom has turf and has soccer murals on the wall. Nice. So needless to say, from the time he was a year and a half old, my wife had a soccer ball at his foot. But it's a sports house, and my wife is just an amazing person. I joke about it, overachieving, but I really mean it. She's a sweetheart. And she, when I was coaching, to have somebody that understood the trials and tribulations and the challenges and how hard it is. It's a hard job. I mean, she was coaching 18 to 22-year-old young ladies. I was coaching 18 to 22-year-old guys. So, a lot of the stuff you're dealing with is very similar. And there was always somebody to talk to about it. And even in my current career, she's very knowledgeable about sports, about the game. She's very opinionated. She's a huge fan. And, so my kids have grown up in a sports household, and we've had a lot of laughs.
Nice. So her predictions trump yours then, right? So when she predicts stuff, she's always right, and you're like, no. Is there a bit of a quarrel there?
Well, there's no question that, when push comes to shove, it's like, yes, dear, you're right. You're never wrong. So that's a smart way to keep it going, right?
Happy wife, happy life. But with the recent events that's transpiring in the U.S. recently for the past couple of weeks regarding the murder of George Floyd by the police officers, with the Black Lives Matter movement and all the support, how do you feel that the police have handled the protesters, especially in your state of New York, with that incident with the elderly man that they pushed? What's your take on that?
Well, Melyssa, I'm not sure if you know this. All this stuff hits near and dear to my heart. I'm not sure if you're aware. My wife and I adopted 3 African-American boys. My sons are 23, 22, and 21. I've had the talk with them. I've talked to them about DWB, driving while black, how to speak and deal respectfully with law enforcement. And all that, so when I see what took place, it just crushes me because right. I have 3 black sons. My worldview is different. And at the same, and on top of that, my whole life has been in basketball from, my time growing up in Brooklyn and all that. And, when I look back at my coaching career, the majority of the people that I worked with on a daily basis were African Americans. So I feel like I have a sensitivity and an empathy to it that maybe other people might not understand. Right. So to me, it's a really and it's not just this one incident, or not just the incidents that have taken place in the last few weeks. The United States has a horrible racial relations history, and there's a disconnect. And I have a line that I learned a long time ago as a coach, and I think it applies to what we're going through right now. And it's this: rules without relationships equal rebellion.
Right.
That's what we're seeing now. Part 2 of that: rules with relationships equal respect and results.
Agreed.
And I think what we have to get is an understanding where people really, really listen to each other, not hear each other, but actually listen to each other and try to have an understanding of each other. So is it going to happen overnight? No. But, there's a line that is interesting. And I was watching Spike Lee the other night, but it's a line I've always used, and that is, sometimes life takes a wrong turn in the right direction. And I think what's happened with this pandemic and the unfortunate death of Mr. Floyd is the fact that everyone saw it, and it has everyone's attention. And you could talk about civil rights issues and civil rights protests in the past. Society was distracted. There were so many other things still going on because life was, whatever you want to call it, normal or regular.
Right.
It's not that way right now. So this issue is front and center, and bang, like a 2x4 to the face, it's gotten into everybody's face, which I think is great. And I was watching, I think it was Jimmy Kimmel the other night, and Spike Lee was on. And I had the good fortune to meet Spike Lee a number of years ago. We were playing in Atlanta, and at the time, Charles Oakley was playing with the Raptors. And this was a few hours before the game. Was standing on the court, and Oak introduced me to Spike Lee. He said, "Hey, Spike, Jack's from Brooklyn, like you." And Oak is over there shooting around. So I hung out and chatted with Spike Lee, and he was awesome. And we chatted all about Brooklyn and all that. Right. But he was on the other night with Jimmy Kimmel, and he said, as heartbreaking as this is, and this stuff has gone on in the past, it's horrible. It's just horrible. He said, I'm encouraged, though, by what I'm seeing. I'm encouraged with what I'm hearing, because it's not just the black community. It's everybody coming together and saying, hey, we got to change this. Things got to get better. We got to listen to each other. We got to work better together. Is it going to happen overnight? No, it's not, because there is still an element of people that unfortunately have hate in their heart. And it takes a long time to undo that. But nonetheless, from my own experience and from my own experience raising 3 sons, I can't live my life with cynicism. I have to live my life with hope. And I hope and I pray that this experience, which has been tragic and horrible and disgusting and disgraceful, also is an opportunity now for everyone to look in the mirror and say, I got to move off my position. And life isn't black and white. Life is gray. Life is somewhere in the middle. It's diplomacy. It's respect. It's love. It's being able to find that middle ground with each other so that we can have a dialogue and work better together.
Thank you. Well said.
That's amazing. And it's really important. And we really appreciate you sharing that, Jack, because while basketball is important, this is life and death that we're talking about. And it's really important to share. So we really appreciate you sharing from the heart on that.
No, I mean, I'm okay with that. And you mentioned, I mean, basketball is important, but honestly, it ain't that important. I mean, I do it for a living and I love it, but it's the game of life. The game of life is what matters. And the way you lose in the game of life is if you beat yourself. And right now, as a society, we're beating ourselves because we are continuing to make the same exact mistakes time in, time out. And haven't we learned? I mean, those who don't understand history are doomed to repeat it. Well, we are repeating it time and time again. So this is a lot more important than basketball. Basketball is just a game. I think that I'm so proud to be part of the NBA community because I think our league encourages our players to be themselves and to speak their minds and empower them. And I'll say this. Do you ever think the Colin Kaepernick situation would have happened in the NBA? I don't think so. I think Colin Kaepernick would be playing in the NBA right now. There would be a lot more of a discussion about it. And somehow, some way, that middle ground, that understanding would be reached. I mean, you can't tell me that guy isn't one of the top 96 quarterbacks in the world. You can't tell me he isn't. Right. So my point is, if we start listening and we really try to get in the other person's shoes and try to find some level of discourse and respect, will it be perfect? No, it's perfectly imperfect. But I tell you what, if we keep pushing the ball and keep pushing it, I think we have an opportunity to create some positive change.
I love that. Jack, I just wanted to, just before I get you out of here, I just wanted to ask how our audience can find out more about your apparel line. Tell us more about that.
Well, I mean, we go from something really serious to something obviously not very serious. We have the hellojack.ca and, we got T-shirts and hats and all that fun stuff. Get that garbage out of here. Hello, we've had some fun stuff. So I know we're having a special time this month where you get a 15% discount. I think you put in Jack 15 and you get a 15% discount. So check it out, hellojack.ca, and check it out. But I appreciate you mentioning it. Melyssa, go ahead.
Yep, got it. Do you have time for a quick game?
A quick game? Sure.
Yeah,
I got time for a quick game.
Okay, it's called Start, Bench, and Trade. So I'm going to give you a list.
So start,
bench, or trade.
Start, bench, or trade.
Or trade, okay. Right. So first I'm going to do is Disney characters. Which ones would you start, bench, or trade? Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, or Goofy?
I would start Mickey Mouse because he's the guy.
Okay.
I would bench Donald Duck, big feet, not quick enough, can't defend. And Goofy, I would trade because we want serious people that are committed to winning.
Right. Okay, what about with basketball? So we have Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and Michael Jordan.
Oh my goodness.
It's a tough one.
Start. I mean, I couldn't trade any of them. I couldn't bench any of them. I mean, they're just all remarkable plays. It was funny. Last night, I was watching we're all stuck watching games that have been played 30 years ago. I was watching the 1991 finals between the Lakers and the Bulls. And, obviously we saw The Last Dance and all that. Everyone's talking about the Bulls. But to watch Magic Johnson, James Worthy, Sam Perkins, I mean, and this was after kind of Showtime. It ended already. But Magic was just, oh my goodness. I mean, the guy was just phenomenal. A few weeks ago, I watched the Atlanta Hawks and the Celtics, Dominique Wilkins against Larry Bird. And just, I mean, those guys are just remarkable.
Right.
And and obviously Jordan is the best ever. So I couldn't trade or bench any of those.
Okay, last one. Beyonce, Lady Gaga, or Taylor Swift?
You know what? You'd have to ask my sons. If you're not asking me about like Frank Sinatra or Stevie Wonder or someone like that, I'm not. Come
on, Jack. I know you're hip. I know you're down.
Come on. I love Drake. He's my guy. But in terms of like, I'm not going to lie to you. Matt Devlin, he jokes about it all the time. And Paul Jones and Leo and Sherm and Eric, they all bust my chops about the fact that I don't know any music past 1980, or television shows. So I would actually have a hard time. I know I've heard of Beyonce. I've seen Beyonce. I've seen Lady Gaga. I don't know, but I couldn't tell you what song they sing, really. I mean, but I know who they are. I think they've all been on like the Super Bowl and stuff. I don't know, but I'm keeping all of them. They're all starters in my book. Drake is my franchise player.
Of course. Drake is number one. Thank you so much, Jack. That was fun.
Melyssa, no problem.
Yes, Jack. You are most definitely a starter in the world of broadcasting in Toronto. In fact, you're a Hall of Famer as far as I'm concerned. The iconic voice when it comes to Raptors basketball. Your enthusiasm makes the games memorable, especially when we win. And we really appreciate your time today. If you want to find Jack on Twitter and Instagram, it's hello with 3 O's and followed by Jack. And you'll find him there. We appreciate your time, Jack.
Well, it's been my pleasure, and I really appreciate you having me on. And Melyssa, as I said to you earlier, I'm very comfortable talking about anything. And Melyssa, I appreciate the question that you asked me, and we had a good chat about it. I think as much as you might have me on because I'm some basketball personality or whatever, but I think we all have the opportunity in whatever position that we're in to make the world a little bit a better place. And so I really appreciate you having me on, and it's been fun. And I look forward to meeting you both in person. When all this stuff kind of gets back to normal and we're able to all be at the games and all that fun stuff. So, but again, thanks so much for having me on, and be well, be safe, and have a tremendous summer.
Thank you so much, you two. Thank you for being honest and sharing your stories with us. We appreciate it. And we appreciate you and the work that you do for the Raptors.
Thank you.
Much love to you and your family, Jack. And for our audience, this has been Toronto Talk Sports and more. For the love of the Six, let's connect.
Thank you for watching. Please click the like button and leave us a comment with your feedback. And don't forget to subscribe with notifications to see more engaging and interactive content. Toronto Talk Sports and more. For the love of the Six, let's connect.